Recording is on.
Dope. So we've never done this before. Did I ever teach your kid?
Yeah, all three of my kids were in gymnastics. I don't remember which one, but I'm pretty sure you've taught at least one of them.
One. So if you remember in the sessions that we had, a lot of my training with you was solely focused on how you communicate to yourself and how you were saying the things that you were saying that was leveling you within the skill or what you were attempting to achieve, which in that point was a handstand. So
Right.
it seemed to be that there was potentially some sort of fear of the unknown of what is beyond you. When you do the handstand, you're not looking that way. If you learn how to come down on
Right.
all planes rather than just one plane that you can see, I'm not in control of what is in my sight, so I don't even want to go over there.
Right.
So you began to become more comfortable with the unknown because your communication with yourself. It's been 3 years?
Like just yesterday,
I
actually.
know, it really does. Yeah. I've never done an actual session with you, but I have. In that point in time, I was utilizing my hypnotic modalities within my teaching, but I wasn't quite aware of how potent it was my teaching style was. I started to understand a little bit more of like how that hypnotic modality mixed in with coaching and teaching creates this combination of like I wouldn't say the word success, but like benefit in all areas of whatever the individual deems necessary as beneficial or success. Right. Or whatever they're, they define it as. What I'm interested here with you is following up on just some of the stuff that we worked on, where you're at. I'm going to take notes on your communication and how you're speaking to me, how you're speaking about subjects, what I'm attempting to provide to the masses, with the intention of providing some sort of assistance without like pressure of hypnosis. Hypnosis is a very powerful word. Some people are very scared of it. So what we're going to do is like a pseudo form of it, and it's just communication. It's just talking.
Sure.
Based off of the questions that I ask, you kind of flower ideas of, I am aware or not aware or whatever it is. So
Sure.
You're training still.
I had surgery twice last year. Plastic surgery.
You went and did it.
I had my boobs done. No regret.
No regrets.
One of them was messed up because my pectoral muscles were so dense from working out that it actually didn't accept the implant. I had to go have corrective surgery in August. I know your face.
That sucks. Oh my God.
And I was awake for the second one, so that was really interesting.
Compliment, big muscles. And then your body's like, this is foreign. I'm not.
Yeah, my body with my pec muscles were like, nope.
You're in recovery now? Or
no, I am completely back to normal now.
And what date was the plastic surgery?
January 2020. It was a Thursday, whatever that Thursday. Shit. It was August. Maybe it was the first week in September. The corrective surgery on one side. I've spent a lot of time this year recovering and having to find my confidence again in things like handstand walking. And even just getting upside down again. Like the first time I got upside down after my surgery was really scary for me. It was actually really, really scary. It was probably one of the scariest things I've done since I worked with you, and I had to do it in the middle of the room. It was in my friend's garage. I think I pressure myself because, in CrossFit, which is a combination of weightlifting and cardio and gymnastics and all these different movements.
Wonderful, yeah.
I prefer to work on the gymnastics, and I'm not great at it, but it's interesting to me. So I like learning about that kind of stuff. Strict handstand push-ups were that is the one movement that I feel like if I could go coach somebody else, I could coach them in that. And so I felt this pressure to get back upside down, internal pressure, right? Nobody else. I want to be the best at that because I'm good at it. And
like mid-workout, you're like pumping and you're like, I'm going to do it.
Well, like it was like a special, like, let's just spend time on handstands, and I feel like I am just kind of a mediocre athlete as far as like I can work out for a long time, but not at a high rate of intensity. But man, give me some handstand push-ups and I can kill it.
I only coached you, so we never really had a lot of conversations like this, other than the 5-minute warm-up, the 5-minute cool down. It seems that you're very interested in like whatever you're interested in, and if it's monotonous in your belief system, you're like, because you're like, well, I'll go lift weights, but everybody lift weights. I'm gonna go do gymnastics and handstands and all the cool stuff because it's fun.
It's interesting. I feel like it is fun because it's new and I'm learning. The learning curve is high, and I tend to be drawn to things where the learning curve is still high, because I feel like I'm getting the most benefit, the most bang for my buck, if you will.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And don't get me wrong, I still do the boring stuff too, but
As
I don't
part
want
of progression.
right. But I don't want to. I really just want to spend my time doing the fun things.
So why don't you want to do the monotonous stuff? No, I mean, it's interesting. You're very intelligent. You're going to get your doctorates, and you said, well, I don't want to do the monotonous stuff, knowing that I have to do it. But it got me.
It's boring, and I do it because I'm disciplined. You know, and I have goals. Everybody's got, well, maybe not everybody's got goals, but I have goals, and you know, you gotta do what you gotta do. Yeah. There's also this fear of if I stop working out, I won't start again because I haven't always been an athlete, and I know how easy it is to sit on the couch and not get back up. And
how long have you been in this routine of training though?
That's my dog, in case you can hear that. He's hacking up a lung right next to me. 8.5 years. So August of 2012, I walked into CrossFit. I walked into CrossFit and my life changed.
Okay, so what's your goal with CrossFit? Because you've been doing that for a long time.
I don't have a CrossFit goal. I go there now because those are my people. I don't have goals there. My goals are jiu-jitsu related and aesthetic related. As shallow as that may seem, it's like I'm 40 years old, and I know that the older you get, and for me, I feel it every year, I feel a little bit older. It is, my metabolism slows down, and it's that much harder to keep weight off. And I have a fear, maybe unhealthy, of being overweight, because I've been overweight and I don't want to go back there. And I know, like right now, okay, if I can lose 5 pounds of fat, that is a lot easier to wrap my mind around than every year. You know, you hear about people like every year they just gain like 6 or 7 or 8 pounds, and after like 5 years they're 40 pounds overweight. And then like, how do you wrap your mind around that? So every year, this time of the year, I tend to spend a little bit more time doing cardio, and
because you know it's that season.
Because it's
cold
like
outside, we got packed on, so I'm gonna work harder.
I already put on my winter body. Now I gotta take it off. And I just try to be realistic with, you know, my eating habits. And I mean, I have junk too, but I really try to ensure that the majority of what I eat is clean. I eat very little bread. It makes my stomach revolt now. Like, I get really bad cramping when I eat stuff like that. I do drink wine every day, pretty much. I think I'm a functional alcoholic.
Yeah, I was about to say, why did you say it in that tone? And then you labeled yourself.
I'm pretty sure, yeah. It's fine.
You're like, I eat really well, I'm doing really good, I drink wine, I'm kind of an alcoholic. Everything's good though.
I have been limiting myself to 1 glass of wine since January 1st.
There you go. Yeah, and I don't think that, I mean, me personally, I don't think it's a problem, as long as it's in moderation. So like, okay, so let's wrap back up. This is cool. You say that you had, I think you used the word, having a problem gaining confidence after surgery. If we were to look back 8 years ago when you started, August 2012, that was CrossFit. So that was like your initial, let's say here in this case, and we'll go back before CrossFit at a later time. That was an interest. And then jiu-jitsu came after CrossFit, right? 3
years now. Yep. So January 2018, I started jiu-jitsu.
So what got you into CrossFit?
I was just at home. I had known somebody that had done it through work, and I didn't really understand what it was. But I was overweight. I needed to lose some weight, and I was just at this point where, like, I was sick and tired of feeling sick and tired. And so I live in Katy, so I Googled CrossFit in Katy, and CrossFit Katy came up. So I really looked into a wonderful gym. It's a really great community. And, you know, if I had to guess, I'd say at least 50% of the members have been there as long as I have.
We're gonna call Drew before I post this video.
Okay.
And he's gonna compensate us because he's gonna get more members from this video.
I know. No, but they do a good job over there. Anyways, so I was completely out of shape. And if you want to talk about confidence, I had none. I mean, I have confidence of myself as a person. I've never been lacking in that, but just in my ability to navigate the gym and like understanding how the physiology of exercise and how different movements affect different parts of your body. Like, I didn't understand any of that. And so learning about exercise science through working out and doing my own independent research and learning about nutrition gave me a lot of confidence, not just in CrossFit, but in other parts of my life. Just having the bravery, I guess, to call you one day and be like, hey, I want help with XYZ. Like, I would have never even...
I remember that. You did call me. Yeah.
I never would have thought that I was capable of something like that had I not, you know, it's baby steps, right? So, but just having the bravery to know, like, okay, I can do this. Everybody started somewhere, you know. Some people start when they're kids, and unfortunately for me, I didn't. But
unfortunately though too.
And well, right. And I have 3 kids, and one of the most important things to me is to action speaks so much louder than words, and to demonstrate to them that their mother is fearless, because if I am, they will be too. You know, and I fake it till I make it. There's a lot of things I still fear, and I do it anyways because I want my kids to see me doing it. And handstands is one of those things. My 9-year-old can do a handstand. She can walk a couple of feet, and I don't think she would even try had she not seen me trying.
Yeah.
You know, so that's pretty cool to see. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is good. This is all really good. Okay. How long were you overweight? How long did you deem yourself overweight?
On and off for my whole life. I mean, I got up to, let's see, when I went away to college, I was already, I don't know, probably a size 10. And then I'm a size 6 right now. I was probably a size 10. And that's not heavy by any means, but for me, I'm little. I mean, I'm only 5'4".
So that's why I asked you in your standard.
Yeah, I'm only 5'4".
So you were looking at the context. You're looking at context and height and BMI.
And with no muscle. You know, that's something too. My fat to lean mass ratio is much different now than it was then. And then when I went to college, I gained quite a bit of weight. I got up to I barely could squeeze into a size 14s. And then through my 20s, I just up and down with the, you know, what do you call it? Yo-yo dieting. So I'd lose 30 pounds and then gain it back and lose it again and gain it back. And the emotional part of it, I think, was more unhealthy than the physical part of it. And a lot of that had to do with confidence in my ability to, like, right now, I was an emotional eater, and I'm not anymore because I think I've just done enough research to understand how it works and how my body works to where I feel like, yeah, I can do this. I just need to, you know, do X, Y, and Z, and I trust the process, and just understanding the process of nutrition and exercise and all that gives.
So this is what's interesting. Okay, you say trust the process, please articulate what the process is for you. Like you're saying, like just trust the process. Because you also said the word just. You also just devalued the process that you explained to me in your linguistics, right? So you're very powerful, you're articulate, but when you mention at the end of it the process, right? You've been in the process for 8.5+ years, right?
I've been in. Right.
Yeah, but you also said that word right before it. You said just.
What do you mean?
Just. The word just. I'll go back and pull it up. It's really interesting, that word just, and how powerful it is.
I think I feel like, yeah, I can do this. I just need to, and just trust and just understanding the process of, but what sentence did I use it? I don't understand how I use the word. I think I just
trust the process. When you speak about the process that got you to where you are so profoundly, and almost devalue it by saying just.
I feel like, yeah, I can do this. I just need to.
It's just a piece of paper. It's just a leaf on the ground.
Right.
It's just a trash can. So, and it's very interesting because you're very prophetic. You're very intelligent. You're very smart. And I am having a very challenging time finding the things that you haven't already worked on, right? Because you've already done all the fucking work. So that's where it is, right? Because I can't do anything until I find out how you talk. And this is what I did with your handstands. It was all about how you spoke to yourself. Sure. So one of the other things you said is I was an emotional eater.
Yes.
You having that past tense is power.
Right.
And then you articulate with that preface comment with an explanation of how it is that you were in that state, and it is now past tense, and you're aware of it, and you told me that I did research. These are all things, because this is why I'm trying to articulate this last thing. Trust the process. And I asked you, what's the process? Okay, the process is you, no one else. You're not. Anybody can go fucking on Google and type in fucking shit and read it. Right. But Rebecca chose to go beyond reading it.
I know what works for me.
Yeah, but you got to understand is I'm here articulating how big of a step you took, and I'm gonna trace back how many millions of steps you took for you to realize that the 8 years is a lot of work in your modeling for more than yourself, but for other people. I mean, think about how many people saw you 8+ years ago and how you've impacted their life and how long you were in that state of what you classify as overweight. And now you've modeled yourself beyond your family, because you're in your family and you're in your routine. And like you said, it's just the process. But for other people, they cannot fathom the conversation that you have with yourself where you just said what you said. I called you today. I said, how you doing? Getting my doctorate. What the fuck? I'm bored at home. I'm going to go get my doctorate. Great. That makes total fucking sense. I met you. You wanted to do handstand walks. Great. Next time I chat with you, you want to be a doctor. It all makes sense, 100%, right? The process that I'm intending here is to utilize reverse engineering how you got where you were and tune you for more empowerment to propel yourself forward, right? You've already done all these things. So you were in college, you were at size 10, and then you kind of went the whoop-de-doop-de in the 14 and here up to 12 and there. And then at some point you decided this is enough. I don't want to have this emotional connection to food, and you understood it, and you were there for the exact amount of time that you were there for you to articulate that. Now I joined CrossFit. August 2012, I Googled something, and Google says CrossFit. So I went to Katie CrossFit, and then that was an achievement. And you had many achievements before that. Each one continued to grow, and then you decided to do jiu-jitsu. Now you're competing in jiu-jitsu. You have these other things that you're doing. Now you're moving on to becoming a doctor. I think that potentially the communication with yourself here and now, with what I've noticed, and I don't know, right? I'm always going to speak with all these things with maybe speculation and potentially, because I don't know you. I'm familiar with the data that I just received in this conversation and the way that you spoke to me and the way that you responded to my questions and how you spoke about yourself, right? Okay. And so within all of that, I think that if you were to go back and look at articulately each month, right? You broke that down. That's a lot of months in 8 years. right? And then each quarter, right? So within each month, you have like a 21-day cycle of creating the habit, and you're mentally going through that 3-week cycle, and then you do another 21-day, and you have many cycles, many moons of habits where these 8 years are like ingrained in you.
Right.
And it's the way you speak about it. It's just the process. Because now 8 years ago, did you say that? Did you say just the process 8 years ago when you were starting?
What do you mean?
Or did you refer to this whole process as just the
process? I didn't know there was a process.
Exactly. So the process we're finding out is not anybody else's but yours.
Right.
So the process is whose process?
My process.
Hey, so we're creating ownership of the feelings that you're having.
Yeah, of course.
So you're feeling empowered over these things, but because you've researched externally, you seem to devote it externally because potentially at some point in your childhood, a primary or secondary caretaker established that as a role for you to not take ownership of your successes and give ownership and pay it forward. Okay, so if that rings a bell, maybe that's another discussion we can have later, and you'll sleep about this and dream about this and have an idea of, maybe you'll go talk to your mom and dad about, oh, it makes sense now. But the whole idea is that it's you. You're the process.
Right.
You called me, like you said on the video, and all the fans and people that, or whoever it is that watch this, will see it as well. That you called, you decided to make the change. Nobody forced you. The process is yours. Absolutely. And now you're going to be a doctor. And you're not even going to practice. What's funny is that you're probably not even going to practice. You're going to get it and then be like, I don't want to be a pilot. And then you're going to become a pilot. You're going to go get your flight license.
That's very true, actually. Who knows what I'm going to do when I grow up.
You're just going to keep hopping.
Well, that's okay.
I think that's what's, that's what's so beneficial. Is to just continuously live within you.
Yeah, I think learning is a pretty amazing thing. And one part of my process, keep in mind, is that I went through 2.
Oh my gosh, you said it.
I know. I went through 2 pregnancies, all during my pregnancy and my recovery doing CrossFit. And I think that helped me a lot come to terms with how exercise and diet really affects the body. You know what I mean? It was an interesting learning process. I mean, I worked out up until I went into labor with my second child. So
you, among all of this, you from 2012, how many kids did you have at that year?
When I started CrossFit, I had 10. She was 10 months, I guess. No, she was 9 or 10 months or 11 months. I don't know, Alice. And then
something happened to being a mother in 10 months of being a mother that you were like something. I'm assuming, and is that a speculation?
Well, you gain weight. I mean, when you're after you have a baby, women tend to blow up. And it's very hard to lose the weight. And I didn't want to be one of those women that just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger with every child. I didn't want that to be me. And I knew that we were going to start trying again in a few months for our second child. So I wanted to already be working out when I got pregnant so that I could work out during pregnancy. So I probably was 6 months in when I got pregnant. And then I went through pregnancy, and then I had Amelia, and then she was nine months old when I found out I was pregnant again. I was pregnant for years, it felt like.
You're like nonstop.
And then Dexter,
3 or 4?
I have 3, and Dexter was so big, I had to quit working out at 35 weeks with him because he ended up being 10 and a half pounds. And he was just enormous, and I just couldn't do it anymore. So and then I went back to working out the 2 I went through CrossFit with. I ended up going back right at 4 weeks post baby. So Dexter, I was out for 9 weeks, and that sucked. I felt, you feel like you get hit by a bus for 3 months when you start working out. It sucks. But I knew if I didn't, I actually wouldn't go back.
And Dexter, so you went through this growth stint, like you just explained, with every baby. At the end of each one, you had like a little break and you had to propel yourself forward to get back in.
Right.
Knowing what happened back in college.
Right. And knowing how easy it is for me to just get sucked into, I assume for many people, to get sucked into this rut of eating like shit and not exercising, and my metabolism's already low. So, you know.
So what now keeps you going? Because, like, I mean, if you want me to be honest with you, I would probably otherwise never have a session with you, because you would never seek my service. This is all speculation, because you're set. Like, you need nothing from me.
But I like you, so.
No, I know. That's why you're called. That's why we're chatting. However, for people with context, like, because you have a very potent story, you just elaborated a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
You and I have a very good rapport with each other, I believe. And so we feel comfortable divulging information in ways that ultimately, when somebody else sees this video, they're going to connect to you. Because this is not about me. This is about finding individuals that are that have molded themselves with behavioral modification.
Right. I've definitely.
Yes, and it's not me that is claiming anything here, and this is what I said with the last person. I'm just revealing what you've already done. It's already happened. I articulated it. Size 10 of college, 14 here, CrossFit 2012, January. These are all things that you as an individual modified your behavior to propel yourself forward. And each time you decided to achieve something else, you modify accordingly and propel yourself forward.
Right.
You utilize the feeling of empowerment from your last accomplishment to easily replicate over to the new skill, new tool, new trade. What you're doing, mind you, is very, very difficult. It's very challenging. You are blessed, I believe. You were given a very beneficial framework of primary, secondary caretaker in your life. This is a wonderful video because it's a good contrast from the last video that came from the troubled childhood. But you're both successful. This last person is on her 4th season of American Ninja Warrior. But she came from a different walk of you. But you guys are on 2 totally different opposite ends of Texas, and you both have the ability to propel yourself forward through behavioral modification.
Right.
Self-behavioral modification. Now, what's interesting is that external environments and people will suggest and drop ideas, and it's up to that said individual to accept or deny or whatever they choose to do with whatever it is. You are where you are, and you're doing what you're doing. And the only one thing that I could find in this conversation, I'm sure some other professional will find other things as well, is the word just. Maybe I'll go back and listen to the video and I fucking heard you wrong.
And just trust and just understanding the process of.
And there's nothing wrong with that, right? Because you just keep going.
I think I've just.
You just keep going.
I feel like, yeah, I can do this. I just need to.
You just keep going.
And just trust and just understanding the process of.
You just keep going, as you've done. Like, you didn't give up. You had college size 10, then you were 14, and the reason why I'm gonna keep saying these things back to you is because I don't think you visualized these things in a very long time in your life, and it's important for you to realize where you came from, how hard you worked, how long it took you, where you're at now, and the fact that you still say, I'm excited to grow up. The reality that you are where you are and still embrace the youth within yourself and propel yourself forward with learning, never embracing complacency. Mind you, again, I don't know you. I know of the information you've provided.
Right.
We're all humans. We all communicate externally through here, and then there's another conversation in here. So I'm trying my hardest to just articulate based off of the information I've provided. You do what you want with it. But this is great. I'm so glad that you did this. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no, thank you.
I'm very grateful. I'm gonna stop the recording
Okay.
really quick.